It's that time again. It's the Berkey and the Badger Board Game Babble Show. It's going to get wild. It's going to get wacky. It might even get a little zany. We're going to talk about board games and the board game industry. And, you know, we might talk about anything else we want to talk about.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for your right honorable King, King Berkey?
Hey, it's Berkey and Badger, episode 76, locked in. And welcome, Babbleites, to the good kingdom of Babblot, and your honorable King Berkey, the host of this elegant podcast that is streamed live on YouTube, direct from Babblot and SteamYard, and with my co-host, the jester, the mocking man himself, Sir Badger of Babblot.
That'd be me, Your Highness. Greetings to everybody.
Hey, we're both wearing our geek shirts, baby. Look at that.
That's very strange.
Oh, baby.
That's very strange. I've done one video this month. Well, I've done two videos, technically, but I put this on because I knew I was doing a video today, and so it was like...
I love this shirt, though. It's got that softer cotton fabric that's a little stretchy, and that helps my bulbous nature.
Yeah, it's so nice to iron as well. I don't know what they made this out of. Like Yeti hair, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's Yeti hair. That's a good one.
Or maybe Jawa skin.
No Yetis were sacrificed in the making of this podcast.
Not yet, anyway. We're running out of toilet paper, so I think that there might be some.
Yeah, that's becoming a hot commodity, isn't it?
I do not know why.
I don't either.
Well, anyway, hello everybody. Welcome to the show. This is episode 76, and what we're going to be doing in this show, our lineup is we're going to talk quickly about all the things that have been happening in Babblot, and then we're going to do a roundup of rumors and things going around in the things that make the king go and then we're going to talk about first impressions of games that we've played in our section, the good, the bad, and the not so ugly, before finally finishing off with our Babblotop topic about things that you do when you're locked in.
Things that you do when you're locked in.
Yes, and this is a live stream, so you can find us on Facebook and YouTube, streaming live. So if you have any comments, please jot them down, because I can do this, and we can say hello to Kabuki Kid.
Kabuki Kid is in the castle!
And we can say hello to Rick Ortloff.
Rick, my good friend, I've been thinking about you. How you been doing?
And we can say greetings to Board Game Theater Game Toppers person. Oh, that'd be you.
Yes, I didn't know who that is. That guy's crazy.
He should run for president.
No. That would not be good. Oh, cool. Well, lots of fun stuff to talk about. So tell us a little bit, Badger, what's been happening in Babblot? What's been happening in your neck of the woods?
Well, my neck of the woods in the south end of Babblot, we've been getting a lot of sunshine, which is really nice. And it's and the weather is just like getting warmer and warmer. I mean, it's shorts and t-shirt already in March, which is great if you've got a garden and you're locked in. Like we are, and we've been 3 weeks. Well, it's the third week. I've lost count. Days blurring to each other. You know, the weekend. It's Wednesday tomorrow. Yes, it's Wednesday tomorrow, and it's like you can't keep track of everything. It's all mixed up, and it's hard to get motivated. And but we're here. We're motivated.
I see in Epernay right now. It is 52 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yes.
And tomorrow's supposed to be a high of 51 Fahrenheit.
Yep, and the weekend it's going up, and it's probably going to be in the 70s.
Yeah, it says Sunday 71, Monday 66, Tuesday 69. Today in Fergus Falls, Minnesota, right now we have 48 degrees, but it's supposed to be up to 52 today and tomorrow 54. So we're both enjoying the beginnings of spring, and boy, having that warm sun on your face just makes all the difference in the world, right?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it's got something to do with the lockdown and the less vehicles moving and airplanes flying around in the atmosphere, the earth having its chance to clean itself.
Well, they talk about that. You see these pictures of Venice, and all of a sudden all the canals are clear and fish are actually going back and swimming in the canals.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting thought.
It is interesting. Again, it's still not quite around here. I keep going out in the mornings about 6 o'clock in the morning with my microphone trying to record bird sounds, but I can still hear this distant traffic sound, this kind of, I don't know.
Kabuki Kid said it's 44 over there in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I trust all of our listeners. I'm sure we'll have more people join the feed here. I hope you guys are all doing well.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Keep yourself confined. Follow the rules, and we will get through this in one piece. I've had some bad news as well. We've had someone that we know pass on due to the fact of this virus. So. This is serious crap, people, okay?
So sorry.
Yeah. It's an elderly friend who was actually the person that we bought our Windows from, and he installed our Windows when we moved into this house. And so it's a bit of a shock. 1 minute you hear they go into hospital, then you hear they're in a coma, the induced coma, I presume, and then they're gone. It's sad news. But,
it's. I think that's part of living, and this pandemic obviously is extremely serious and extremely contagious and different than a lot of things that we've seen in the past, and yet we constantly are grieving over those that pass on from a lot of different things, and so. This heightens that experience that people are dealing with, and so we really need to provide encouragement and empathy and help to those that are struggling. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately, actually. Just like, what can we do to help? I've already done a few things, but I tend to not do a lot of my stuff publicly. When it comes to giving and different things of that nature, but I've been thinking a little bit lately about how Game Toppers can contribute. So I've been tossing around some ideas of how we can, my Facebook feed, I typically put funny things on there that aren't irreverent to the situation or anything like that, but I've a lot of those toilet paper memes, people are going crazy over toilet paper. So I find it amusing, and hopefully it brightens someone's day, rather than trying to mock what's going on. It's more of just trying to keep a positive influence in the hobby. And I've been thinking a lot about that lately.
Yeah. Making toilet paper?
Yes, exactly.
Game Topper logo on it.
Good. It really won't be good. But I don't think the brand of toilet paper that I make would, be made out of mostly, jerky, meat parts. So it's like, it would smell good. It would be really luxuriant.
Oh, no. If it's got Happy Mouth on the jerky, then it's going to sting a bit.
Spicy. I was reading our local shopper, and I was reading through that, and most people have gone to online digital media, so this is kind of a paper that's not used as much, and people kind of talk about that, and I'm feeling the paper, and I'm going, this paper is quite luxuriant feeling. Who says course people don't use the midweek anymore.
So what's go on.
I'll just tell you a quick, another little funny, but I was talking to my dad because they talk about the dirty 30s and the Great Depression, and, you know, back in the day they had outhouses, and they couldn't wait to get their new batches of peaches, because peaches were always wrapped in those soft paper
tissue, yeah.
And that's what they used out in the outhouse. Otherwise, they were stuck with the Sears and Roebuck catalog. So we are definitely concerned about our butts.
Now, that's what's been happening in the throne room at Babblot, yes?
Well, that's basically it. I just got back from the Gamma Trade Show, which was a really interesting show. I want to talk about that just real quick. But I arrived a day early, and I was pretty much in the hotel room most of the day because I had a lot of work to do. And Monday and Tuesday are mostly for retailers going through to different seminars and so forth. On Wednesday at 12 o'clock is when the show opens for the retailers and the vendors, and it goes till 5 o'clock. The next day it's from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Well, on Wednesday it was pretty busy, but then a lot of news started coming out, especially about international flights, things of that nature. Being canceled, and Thursday was almost like a ghost town. The thing that about that particular thing was, it was about 30 publishers had actually canceled the show, but then about 10 other publishers came and filled in some of those spots. So this is a relatively small convention, I think around 1,200 people or something. I think the Gamma people did a good job putting on the event, but I think looking backwards now, given all that we know, they might have rethought whether or not the convention should have actually happened.
Yeah.
But at the time, I think people were trying to do the best that they could. There was several drama-related items that happened at Gamma that people are talking about a little bit. It's just kind of interesting how when our life gets shaken up, how that shakes up everything, right?
Yeah. I mean, again, going back to February, before Cannes, the news was getting worse and worse, and then it started to come into Europe, and then I started developing a cough, and I was thinking, oh no, I'm going to be working for Board Game Geek, and I'm going to be ill, and I'm like, oh, this is the worst. And I was just waiting for that message from Scott or Lincoln to say, we're not going to Cannes now because it's getting serious. And I mean, even at that point, you know, that was a very early stage, but yet Cannes still carried on, although the film festival is cancelled and everything else. Everything is being cancelled. Even stuff in July and August is being pushed back due to this outbreak.
Yeah, the UK Games Expo, we were planning to go at the end of May, and that's been now postponed until the end of August. And we have actually a new sponsorship with them. We're putting 300 of our Game Topper game mats in the board game library area for the open play. And really enjoyed working with Richard Denning and Tony and the people there. And, you know, this is so concerning. You know, this is a major event for them. And without this major event, they basically could fold up, you know. So it's really significant. And yet, of course, we have to do what we have to do to protect people. And then there's a lot of legalities that go into contracts for these huge venues that people are on the hook for. So canceling a convention is not an easy decision.
No.
And thankfully, I think what's happening with most of the governments are coming out and making these requirements, which allows them some contractual benefits to, you know, postpone or not be on the hook for that venue, so to speak. But it's tricky. I'm not an attorney and all of those kind of things, but it's not an easy thing to make these decisions.
No. But the main thing is people are not worrying too much about the money and worrying about the lives more. which is the important thing. The health and security of everyone should be and always will be your friend. Should be. What's the trick? Oh no! The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Exactly.
That's the one.
I will be your friend always.
Can I touch your face now?
Just my huge hands.
Oh.
Huge. Yeah, it's interesting. I think Gamma is in the situation now too that they have to think about origins in Ohio. I don't know what the state of Ohio specifically has been doing with their lockdown orders. The state of Minnesota just issued the edict that went into effect this last Friday night at midnight that they are asking for non-essential people to stay in their homes until the 10th of April. I have a sense that that's going to get extended probably till the 30th based on President's recommendation through the 30th as well, nationwide. So we'll see how it all evolves.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a new venue, and it's going to be in the Antarctica, where there are no cases. It's like all the events will be there because nobody's infected, and it'll just blow away like snow.
Yeah, I hope so. I think June 20th is when Gamma is scheduled, if I remember right, or 18th. But I doubt that they'll be able to do that soon. I know they've made a decision not to say that to make the announcement go or not go May 1st. So they're holding off on the decision. And then lots of people are talking about Gen Con as well. So what's going to happen with Gen Con?
Yeah, we shall see. Only time will tell.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I agree with you, though. We need to keep people safe, and we really do need to do our part to help in that battle. Yeah, so we got Darth Greater is in the house, in the castle, and we got Wrath of Khan comments going on.
Yeah, all because a man loves to do that.
So tell us a little bit about the poll from the last show.
So if you remember on our last show, we had Robert Geislinger. Yeah, I almost sabotaged
Geislinger and Burkhardt-Schmeier were on the show.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm just flicking through game topper mats there. But
I like those. Those are cool.
We had,
nice.
Yeah, and we were talking about industry hats that we wear. And so I put a poll up on our Board Game Geek Guild 2248, Board Berkey Badges, Board Game Babble, asking people about what industrial hats would you like to wear. And the most popular answer, surprise, surprise, not really, was designer. Most people would rather be the film star, the guy that creates the game, or the gal who wants to create the game. We got a massive 54% that said they want to be the designer, whereas at 38% we have developers. So obviously there's a lot of inspiring Stephen Bonacors out there, which is nice. And I mean, again, in a world where we believe there's too many publishers and too many games, there's still people that are aspiring to do those two jobs.
That's cool.
Is there anything there which is catching your eye and going,
read them all off to me once. I can't see it on the screen.
Sorry. So we have publisher coming in at 25%, artist at 16%, communications at 6%, critic at 3%, box opener, my joke. That's my joke of the thing. 16%. I can't believe 16% of the people want to be box openers. Rules writers and translators 22%, which is something that we really do need. Mini painters 6%, demonstrators 19%, soundtrack compositors 3%, and that's it.
Yeah, I think it kind of looks like it has a lot to do with skill set of people.
Yeah,
you know, I would love to do art.
Yeah,
you know, painting and things like that. Sound would be something I might be able to help a little with, but not like composing music as much like you are doing.
Actually, I need to talk to you after the show about sound, because I need a voice actor to voice some characters. So.
Oh, yes, I could help with that.
Yeah, that would be great. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, that's good stuff. You know, it was a fun conversation with Robert, and what was really cool about Robert has become the sales manager of our sponsor, Arcane Wonders, and they just launched the late pledge manager for the amazing game Foundations of Rome. This was I ended up playing this game almost 6 or 7 times at many different player counts, and I am so excited about getting that game. I don't know, do you still have that Arcane Wonders video spot?
The city-building board game Foundations of Rome puts you in the role of an architect, competing to own land and build magnificent structures. Build doomuses, fountains, foundries, and more to increase your renown, gain glory for yourself and the Empire. With 96 wonderfully detailed miniatures in the base game, Foundations of Rome is a testament to the glory of Rome that you can bring to the table.
There it is in all of its glory. And Game Toppers, we're actually doing a Foundations of Rome Roman-themed mat. And I gotta tell you, it's from the artist Jaroslav Radecki, who did our Viking theme mat and our Scythe-inspired mat and the fantasy mat. And this mat is unbelievably gorgeous. It's got the Colosseum, and you could play viticulture on it and all kinds of Roman-themed games, but it has that art style from the actual game Foundations of Rome. And I honestly, Arcane Wonders is our sponsor, so take it for what it's worth, but it's the funnest game I have played in a long time. I just think it's fantastic. Yeah, I'm crazy excited about it.
I'm excited about it as well. I was lucky that there was a late pledge manager, because I couldn't get the Kickstarter on time, and I got to inform the wife that I'm paying for another Kickstarter, which is something which we haven't done. We haven't paid out a lot of money in this past 3 weeks. It's been weekly shopping, and that's about it. So that's one of the great things. We're learning how to save money and not be so
not consume as much.
Yeah. We sit at home. There's stuff on the telly that we watch. There's games that we've well, not as many games as I say. There's games that we play, but it's not that many. Seriously.
Yeah, I've been wondering about this with Kickstarter during this locked-in period. How this is probably a whole nother topic, but I'm interested to see how things will go. You know, our good friend Rob McBride from Scyther Gaming has his game Over Battle right now on Kickstarter, and this game is so amazing. I hope that it will fund and do well, and yet we know this is kind of an interesting time. And he did something unique, that he made his campaign to be, I think it was 55 days, a longer period of time, to give people more time to jump into it, think about it, make sure that they were safe to spend the money so that it wasn't a pressure. But this game, I think, is... I've played the game. I've seen the components of the game. I know how much effort he's put into the story and the lore behind this game. It is absolutely top-notch. There's no exaggeration. I've not seen a better prototype produced before. The Foundations of Rome prototype is really amazing, but this prototype it's off the hook. You know, it's a little bit of a throwback, old school type of game in a sense that it's, I've heard him say it's Axis and Allies meets Twilight Imperium. You know, you can play it in 2 to 4 hours, but it is kind of a dice chucker, but it has a lot more interaction and negotiation and interesting things that are happening with the game. So I really think it's fantastic. I really hope it does well for them, but this is an interesting time that we're living in.
Precisely. And can people afford it? We hear about in the States that, you know, 300 million, not 300 million, 3 million people have declared unemployment. Yeah, and it's like people are struggling to pay for their homes or their rent. It's really sad and depressing to hear that. It's a shame that the world just can't push a pause button on the economy and just everyone just stops what they're doing. Everyone locks themselves in. No exchanges of money anywhere. It's just, one big pause. Like when you're playing a board game, you're playing Agricola, and then all of a sudden one of your players has got to go to the toilet. But the other players can still have their turns. But, there's no... Yeah, but anyway, I digress.
Well, I think it's interesting because our late pledges at Game Toppers, you can still late pledge for a Game Topper. And prior to Gamma, our sales were really brisk, and it's gotten pretty slow. And I totally understand that. People need to be more thoughtful, and frankly, people are uncertain, and there's a certain amount of fear that can go along with that, and maybe a good fear.
Yeah.
We need to pay attention now for a time. I really think this thing, we're going to work through this thing. Yeah. And better days are ahead. They absolutely are ahead. Fundamentally, things are still good. And I really believe we're going to come through this shining, and we might learn something about ourselves, and we might take away from this time deeper thoughts that help our families, help our communities, help our countries. And so ultimately, I think this is going to turn out for good. I really do believe that better days are ahead. But right now is a difficult time for a Kickstarter, and I know Come On has got their new game Ankh, which is in the trilogy from designer Eric Lang. Blood Rage, Rising Sun. This is a huge game, and I'm not sure how it will do.
No. So Don has joined us in the castle.
Yes!
He must have had his cape caught in the port cutlass. He apologises for being late.
He apologises.
Yes,
sire. Yes, sire. Kiss the ring. Kiss the ring. The ring.
So, there we have it.
Well, I think we're ready to move on to our next segment. Things that make you go,
Things that make us go, Board game news. Berkey and Badger reflect on the current events that are happening in the board game industry. Some may be good, some may be bad, but they're all things that make us go,
You go. I'm clicking on buttons and things are popping up everywhere. I apologise. So, Sire, what has been making you go, in the board game world?
Well, it kind of goes along with some of the things. I think we've talked a whole bunch of different things lately. Hey, Jesse's in the castle as well, and he's talking about Frosthaven, and it's already at 2.6 million, just started today.
Yeah. What's his excuse for being late? Huh, Jesse?
Yeah, quit throwing out all your fancy facts.
Yeah, I bet he's
trying to show us up. We were talking about
he's
stuff.
He's probably backed it about 17 times. He's stockpiling Frosthaven for the next apocalypse.
I gotta tell you, Jesse, I miss you, buddy. I would so like to play a board game with you right now.
Oh.
So, that said, things that make us go, Well, I've been thinking about something that I just saw on ICV2 reported today that Games Workshop has closed up all of its operations due to the COVID-19. And they are temporarily closing all their shops, this kind of thing. Yesterday, I went for a walk, and I was listening to the Board Games Insider podcast with Stephen Bonacore and Ignacy Chevicek. I love that show. I always listen to those guys. I have a lot of respect for Steven and for Ignacy. I love their take on their show because it talks about some of these things that we're talking from their perspective as publishers, as designers, and it's just always really insightful. And I listen to them talk about retailers closing and how retailers are doing extraordinary things now to provide services to their customers, curbside pickup, special deals, interacting with people via the internet, and yet how organized play has really been affected. And there's a lot of concern because of, Magic tournaments aren't being played. Keyforge tournaments aren't being played locally. Josiah, my son, he's was the Star Wars Armada's world champion. He was scheduled to go to Chicago to Adepticon to play in that tournament, and of course that all got canceled. And a group of them got together and put together a tournament actually for Star Wars Legion. And they ended up last weekend doing this great big 3-day tournament online.
Wow.
So I think the thing that's making me go, about this announcement from Games Workshop, larger companies, Magic is trying to do some things to help retailers with providing special demo packs and things of this nature. The thing that makes me go, is what is going to remain that is good about this situation that we're in now. We're in a difficult situation. It's very concerning for people. There can be a lot of negativity around what's happening, and rightfully so. I mean, it's Kabuki Kid. She's looks like she's being laid off here for a time, and that's very sad to me. That my heart goes out to you. So those are serious issues. But when we come through all of this difficult trial, what is going to remain that we learned? What about these experiences these game stores are starting to have and are implementing different procedures in different ways to interact with people? What will remain that will be good?
Well, hopefully the fact that we are blessed with this technology, so we are able to communicate to each other still, even though we are isolated from each other. It's those simple things. I think I heard Jimmy Kimball say that he values Wi-Fi more than water coming to his house because he couldn't live without it. And in a way, that's kind of how the world is. We now have this new resource, technically, which has become so essential in our lifestyle that we can't live without it. I mean, if the virus is in the Wi-Fi, the world would probably go crazy, but we'd probably revert back to Stone Age, and that would be good as well, because I like going to the baby making hut and making babies.
Aggressive breeding.
That's the one. Yeah.
Doublet house.
Yeah. Huh? But I know from what I know. Excuse me, I choked on my saliva. From what I know and I've heard is things like Fantasy Grounds and Sirenscape, their sales are going up because they deal in online app-driven things. So lots of people are playing Dungeons and Dragons at home, Skyping or whatever they're using with Fantasy Grounds and Sirenscape in the background. So they've got it. They've got a different life instead of all going around someone's house and crashing on their couch. But it's a different way of playing, which I think is going to be something which is probably going to continue as well. Lots of people doing online D&D and maybe board gaming with Board Game Arena and Tabletop Simulator, not Tabletop Simulator, the other one.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah, but
Tabletopia.
Yeah, I think more people are going to come away afterwards just because they're looking for this itch to scratch. They find it and then they stay attached to it, well afterwards, it's like you've discovered a new thing. It's like you've discovered Board Game Geek for the first time and go, whoa, But
I kind of wonder
not
too
advertising.
if game stores are actually going to start implementing multiple ways of selling to their customers. I know Stephen and Ignacy were talking specifically about the distribution channel and the difficulties of these distributors right now to provide actually to Amazon fulfillment right now, and how that system of orders kicks in when a distributor like PSI sends an order to Amazon, and what initiates that, and now that isn't working quite right. So PSI has stepped up to actually offer fulfillment, and you're starting to see some models change that maybe will be helpful for the future in how product actually gets to consumers and how everybody does better out of that situation. And it's interesting to see what lessons we will learn just from those things in the hobby. But then likewise, what we learn in humanity, how first off to deal with pandemics and be better prepared, so that this isn't such a shock and we're able to deal with it. There's been all these comments about, well, the flu was really bad, and people comparing the flu because we, up to this point have had more deaths about the flu. Well, yes, that's true. However, this disease handles itself much differently, and if we don't deal with it, we don't have the capacity to deal with it where we have had capacity to deal with the flu, even though that has overwhelmed hospitals. But this is much more potential to overwhelm us. So we're learning things that we're going to be able to take away to improve our lives going forward. And I think the board game hobby is going to improve. I think a lot of us are very grateful and not taking for granted the precious moments we have to play games with our friends that right now we can't do.
Yeah, as Econ Kelly has mentioned in the comments, I was amazed by how many people are refinding board games. Last week before the lockdown, yes, people are being confined, and I've seen on the news people are playing Uno and Scrabble.
Well, you're saying pictures of big box stores that don't have any games on the shelves, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Not and yes.
Yeah. I mean, I was hoping to play more board games, but they hardly ever come out. I'm still working. This is my office, so I work from here. My wife is looking after the kids most of the time, but she's also cleaning the house, and so the time for us to actually get together as a family is still dominated by the TV. Certain TV channels have we have a subscription with Free Box in France, and they have made Canal Plus, which is probably like a movie channel. They've made it free instead of a paid for service, so because people are at home, which is a really nice thing, and so our time is being absorbed by that, and the games don't come out as much. But I was hoping we would learn.
Yeah, Don makes a really good. There's a lot of stuff going on in the chat now, but he says he does worry about some of the newer, smaller board game companies losing their livelihood, and yeah, I think that's. There are companies that'll be able to handle this storm, and there'll be others that it'll be very difficult for them to handle it. Yeah. And so, that's one thing though that is pretty great about our community. We tend to help one another, and I hope that's the case with the game stores, that people still support them and still try to patronize them, and likewise these smaller publishers that need a constant cash flow.
So that was one of the things that surprised me, is hearing that some big companies are closing down because they haven't saved for a rainy day. So their incomings have gone directly out on stuff. What? Investments or whatever. And that kind of surprised me, because I never thought about that. As a company, shouldn't you have like a reserve of money sat back, ready to invest in your next project or two projects, or prepare for the future in case something bad happens? But it does seem like a lot of companies are just, they get the money and then it goes back out. We need to keep this ball rolling, kind of thing. They keep the carpet in front of the king, so to speak.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And John Zinser had a really great blog talking about the cash flow monster.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that aren't dealing with the business realm of things, you're thinking about cash flow on a personal level versus a business level, product development level, manufacturing level, distribution channel level, inventory levels. All of those areas take up your cash flow, and it's a significant thing that a lot of people don't realize, especially in today's market. Many of the publishers are having to pump out 3 or 4 titles, and sometimes much more than that, hoping that they get a hit. Well, a lot of resources go out to develop all of those games. So while they might have a hit game that's doing very well, a lot of that money is spent because of what's going next on the hope for future gain.
Yeah.
So like you say, it's an investment. And thankfully at Game Toppers, we're doing really well. We're debt free as a company, and we're doing fine with what we need to do to pay our obligations. We're going to be sitting on a lot of inventory, though. So if sales were to shut down, we could have difficulties in the future, without sales coming back to normal, because our profits are going to be tied up in product.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are going to have that scenario,
As Kabuki mentioned earlier, online stores are going to profit and thrive, which is true. If you own a board game store and you don't have an online shop, you're probably suffering really bad now, which I'm sorry to say. Whereas the online stores are still selling. I'm surprised that Philip is still going. They're a distributor. They're a store in France, in Strasbourg, which they're always pumping videos out and saying, "Oh, look at the new games that we got coming in." Well, we got no new games coming in, but it's some old games. Buy them.
Yeah, I really do believe things are going to turn around, though. So I would encourage people to not lose hope for the long term. We're going to go through a little bit of a trial here, and we are going to come out of it surviving. And so do what you have to do to keep an upper lip. And
I thought you were breaking into a John Wayne accent there, and keep that wagon rolling. We need to keep that wagon rolling. Get the.
Now listen here, bureaucrat. I wouldn't push it. I got a touch of the hangover. I'm not gonna hit you. Yeah, there you go.
Mark Street says he's super scared to spend money or want anything but food at the moment. What about toilet paper?
Toilet paper.
Yeah.
Hey Mark, how you doing, brother?
We got rule books. If we run out of toilet paper, we got rule books, badly written ones that we can use. Which one's the worst one we could use?
We've got leaves. We've got leaves out there. They're drying out nicely right now.
Time to move on.
Yes, I think so. We're going to move on to the good, the not so bad, and the ugly. The good, the not so bad. Wait for it. And the ugly.
So anyway, the good, the bad, and the not so bad, and the ugly. I get that wrong. Is our first impression segment where we talk about games that we've recently played. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, games that we've recently played. And we kind of turn it into a little bit of a game. We try to give a rough description for the other person to guess, and then we leave it kind of open for the other person to guess whether we think it's good, bad, or ugly. Good is a game that we want to jump to immediately and play again.
Love it!
A not so bad game is a game which is take it
kind of like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then an ugly game is a game that
you is ugly. You is ugly.
You would throw under a bus, maybe. Or no, that's a nasty thing to say. But you wouldn't be tempted to go back to play after that first impression. So
yeah,
have you got a game?
I'm going to do something really fun here, guys, because I told Barry before we started the game today. I said I have a really bad confession. I've only played one game of Azul since the last game I played was Foundations of Rome.
Which we've talked about.
And that was 2 months ago. So, 7 weeks ago, I think now, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Maybe it was 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, it feels like forever, but we are right in the middle of fulfillment and going to the Gamma Trade Show. I just been working all the time, and I come home and I have no energy to play board games. And it drives me nuts. But I'm going to do something fun rather than fake it and try to tell you I played a game that I didn't really play. I thought I'm going to do something fun where I can still contribute and you guys in the chat can help me.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about games that I really, really want to play, and you can tell me whether it's good, not so bad, or ugly. So my contribution to this segment right now is a game. It says Astronauts Wanted. 3 to 5 players. Scientists say there is a mysterious ninth planet located on the edge of our solar system. But despite all their efforts, so far, they've been unable to provide substantial evidence of its existence. Join us in this exciting space adventure to find out if the theories are just science fiction or if you will discover Planet 9. This is a card game. And now it has 50 different missions. It has a 2-player variant. This game plays in 20 minutes. Dan King, the board game geek, said, Berkey, you have to play this game. He thinks it's the Spiel des Jahres winner. Guess who just bought the game and received the game? I can't even play games. My shelf of shame is so thick. I mean, I got enough rule books there to do toilet papering till 2040. But what do? I buy this game because I have to have it for some reason. All right. Can anybody guess what this game is?
Kabuki. No, Kabuki's gone silent. They're all chatting to themselves.
No, she's there. She's talking, and Paul is laughing, making funny jokes.
I can't think of any sci-fi games that have come out recently. Or Mission Red Planet. No, I don't think it's that.
No. Small card game.
There's that Jack Kirby one, which is on Kickstarter.
It's a cooperative trick-taking card game.
Okay, it's not the new Avalon Tournament at Avalon.
No.
King Arthur.
It's got astronauts in it.
Astronauts. The Crew, Mark says.
Yes, and you're seeing chats before I do?
No.
I'm looking at the YouTube chats. Oh, and you've got the Steamforge chat because you got Mark Street is in there. He knows what it is. The Crew. Yeah. Okay, now I see everybody.
The Crew. So, anyone played it? What do you recommend? Is it a good game, a bad game, or an ugly game?
Shrink wrap's still on it, everyone.
From Cosmos.
Shrink wrap. I did disinfect it. I got wipes.
Definitely The Crew then, Kabuki.
Yep.
Welcome to the rodeo.
So Mark Street says so good. So he's in the good category.
Okay.
Who else? Got any not so bads? Do we have some uglies? Or is everybody going to jump in and say good? Or maybe you haven't played it yet, like me. This just basically started coming to the United States by Cosmos.
Okay. You know what?
Dan King said it was amazing.
What I think you should do is say the game name before given a description, and that gives people time to write little messages.
No, that's not the way I'm doing it.
I know it's not the way you're doing it, but
we're going to have people guess what it is when I read the description.
Okay.
Because I'm the king.
Okay, King.
All right. So you don't want to wait for everybody's response.
Yeah, because it's like...
Okay, Rob says he's not played, but it looks good. Kabuki said she doesn't like trick-taking games. Well, there you go. Paul says, I have the crew, but I only have 2. I need more trick-taking. I need more cowbell. I need more cowbell.
Don't feel the reaper. Come on, baby.
I got a fever.
Oh.
With the cowbell.
Darth Grada says it's a not so bad game.
Not so bad. All right.
Just on the description alone, though.
Well, we're going to quit talking about it because I have nothing to offer, but I'm very excited. So, Barry, what's your game?
The good, the bad, and the maybe I'll play this later. Yeah. Okay, my first game. Hopefully you can't see them. The camera's actually revealing them, but they're far in the distance there, so you can't see them. I'll just put my arm here. This first game is a 2-player game. These are 2-player games.
2-player game.
Yes, and in this game, one player is going to be protecting the Earth against an invading force, which it's based on a book where previously this invading force were killed by a virus. It's very topical, this.
Oh no.
They were killed by the common cold. And the chances of anything coming from Mars again were 1,000,000 to 1, they said. But no, this is the new wave. They've come back and they are stronger. And the humans are a little bit stronger because they've learnt their lesson from the first invasion.
Oh. Is this War of the Worlds?
It is indeed. War of the Worlds.
Yeah,
Well done.
That's a Grey Fox game,
It
right?
is indeed my one and only Grey Fox game that I have. And there it is. It's a beautiful box. It's a beautiful... I'm a big fan of War of the Worlds. Let's just say that. So I bought it solely on that alone. I thought it was dented. I was going to cry then because it's dented. No, I'm not a person that cries over dented boxes. But yeah, it's a 2-player deck building game, where each player has their own unique deck that they're going to build. You got your own starting deck and your own pool of cards that you can add to your deck. So they're totally individual. You also have a player board in the middle, which is a map of England. And the Martians will start somewhere at the top in Scotland. They will have a base, they will have a tripod and a UFO. Whereas the humans have 30 army soldiers spread throughout Scotland, England, and Wales.
Freedom!
Yes. And basically, to win the game on either side, the Martians have either got to remove the 30 human armies, or the humans have got to do 20 points of damage to the Martians in total during the course of the game. And so this deck building game is back and forth. You're going to move some stuff with these cards, or you're going to use the cards as resources to pay for new cards to put into your deck. It's very tight, very... your deck starts very, very weak on either side. And you've really got to do these really burn some cards to get some better cards into your deck, which hopefully will get your engine running. And then it's this whole spatial thing on the board as well. Where do you move? What do you protect? What do you build? There are buildings that you can build which generate money, the resources to buy new cards. So you got this constant generating energy of money, but also you need to attack your opponent at the same time. It's a very nice back and forth between two players. So there you go, basically. I haven't looked at the chat for a while, and there's about 50 odd comments zipping past. So,
oh, interesting. Is it only a 2-player game?
It's only a 2-player game.
Really?
Yeah. 2 players.
Well, I love the sound of it. I love the theme, and I really enjoy Grey Fox Games productions.
Yes, very nice.
So it kind of sounds like you think it's good.
Yeah, I definitely found it good. My main concern, though, which may happen over the course of time, is I may find it not so bad because it's the same thing over and over again. It's the same cards in the decks. It feels like there's a very limited replayability apart from if you play the humans one time and then you play the Martians the next. It's definitely a very good deck builder. I really much enjoyed it because you really have to think about not only the cards in your deck, but also, as I said, this area control of the map. If you're humans, but it's more for the Martians, you're thinking about which is the weakest target to eliminate, and which is the best route for me to get around, because the UFO flies over everything, whereas the tripods have to walk through each state, and then the humans can set up traps which can really do damage to the tripods quite easily. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, but I am, as I said, worried about future plays. Will it be as fun?
They have some expansions for it?
There was an expansion with it, which comes with Ireland and some boats, and a few extra cards. And there was a few extra cards with the Kickstarter as well. But once they're all mixed in, and we've played solely with the expansion in, once it's all mixed in, you can't feel the difference, so to speak. So, yeah, but
well, that sounds really good. Actually,
it is good, but I think it's going to be a game for like a couple that are going to be playing it regularly, and they're going to go back and forth to try and beat each other each time, rather than an experienced player playing against a novice player. Because I think
so Jesse Shaky, you should buy that game, and then we should play that. We can be a couple playing games.
You know, Alex, he'd give you one, wouldn't he?
Alex isn't there actually.
Oh, he's not anymore with Grey Fox.
No, it's Lance Meister is working for them now.
Oh, well, you know Lance even better than Alex.
Yeah, I probably could reach out to Lance.
Yeah, so there you go. That was one of my new games.
Play that funky aliens.
No, it's dun dun dun.
All right, well, okay, everybody's got to help me out. I'm just going to do one more. I'm going to do it much quicker. And then we'll get to the real board game reviewer here to give us words of wisdom.
Okay.
But I have a game that I'm very excited about getting to the table. I've been super excited about it for a long time. It's Can You Turn Your Tavern into the Talk of the Town? Do you expand your seating capacity or the size of your beer cellar? Hire new staff, perhaps? The more wealthy customers you attract, the more money you have to expand. The right upgrades attract prestigious nobles who will come to see what all the fuss is about, making your tavern the hottest spot for miles around. 2 to 4 players.
Oh, I've recently seen this game, but I can't think of the title. It's a beer brewing tavern game, obviously.
The version that I have includes 4 expansions. I picked this up at PAX Unplugged. That tells you how disgusted I am about not playing this.
Taverns of
Turfenthal.
Dr. Hufflepuff.
Typhonthal.
Right on,
Typhonthal. Turfenpfeifenpfeffen. Hassenpfeffer.
Doctor.
Yes, Hassenpfeffer. I want Hassenpfeffer right now.
Oh, no, that's...
Well, that's exactly what it is. This, what I understand from North Star Games and Schmidt Games, this is kind of like the successor, if you will, to Quacks of Quendelenburg. I hear it's fantastic. Man vs. Meeple approves of it. There's a big Man vs. Meeple logo on it. I love Quacks. We just love playing Quacks. So this game, really, I've heard nothing but good about it. So what do you guys think? Have anybody played it?
No, I haven't played it. Sorry.
You haven't played it?
No.
Haven't heard about it?
I have heard about it. As I said, I heard about it recently, and couldn't think of the name. I remember the box cover.
Still in shrink wrap. See the shrink?
Yeah.
No, but this has been sitting on my shelf for like several months, so there's nothing living on it anymore. washed my hands quite well before I even did it, so. I could go for a ham sandwich right now.
Yeah, I bet I could as well. It's dinner time.
That's a chat reference for those that are listening to this after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, what do you guys think? Anybody think it's good, not so bad, or ugly? Type quickly, everyone. Quickly.
Dead air.
Type quickly.
As Eric Martin says, dead air is the worst air.
There's no dead air here. There's dead typing right now. Nobody's typing.
But
it's like nobody's played this game. Come on, this is like a really popular game. Mark Streed, you know better. He's checked out on us. He showed up, but then he checked out on us.
Yeah,
we'll see if that's
true.
true.
One question right, and I thought it best just to leave with that reputation of getting one right.
Yeah, everybody's got it in shrink wrap. Could we just play a stinking game already?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Taverns of Tiefenthal, I'm super excited about it. I'm going to say it's good because I know of all the people that have played it that told me how good it was, and I guess we'll find out if it's right. But that's my first impression of my not playing it. That's really bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. All right. Well,
we're not doing this again.
Berkey needs to play some games.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us your next game.
My next game is another 2-player game only. It's a remake of a previous game. It's the same mechanisms apparently, but it's been rethemed to Under the Sea. Under the Sea. Basically, each player will have a deck of cards. There is a board in between them. They will have a hand size. I cannot recall how many cards, but every turn they will play a card into its located zone under the sea. Maybe they'll play a huntress. Maybe they'll play a dragon, a sea dragon, or they'll play a sea cucumber, or whatever it is. And each place that you place stuff in will have an effect on the areas around it. So if you play a sea guard into a sea guard space, it'll do nothing. But when there are 3 sea guards there, whoever plays the third one gets to collect those cards, and they will score those as points at the end of the game, and they will have like different values on them. The huntress will hunt for different things. So if you play I can't think, a sea octopus for example, and then someone plays a sea huntress next to it, they can then take all the cards which are in this pile of sea octopuses. So if many have been played, this is great bait. So this game is about placing cards, but at the same time being careful where you place them, because you don't want to let the other player scoop up the pile next to him, or scoop up that pile with a big lot on it, so to speak. I need to research what the original game was called.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like Abyss, but not.
Knock knock.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Nobody in the chat seems to know. Maybe because it's only out in France, probably. That's my...
Yeah, that's usually why.
Okay, it's a game called Opal.
Opal?
It's the new edition of Dragonheart. If you know what Dragonheart is, apparently. So, as you can see, it's a small box from Rune Editions.
Okay.
And it's a really simple game. As I said, the player board here has all the locations of all the different cards. So everyone's got, well, the 2 players have the same deck, but they have their own individual decks. And as you can see, if you place a card here, you can either take all the cards from this monster pile or these sea cucumber thingies. Or if you place one here, you can either take the pearls or you can take the sea dragon. Well, that's the sea dragon over there, sorry. So it's a case of, it's like not an area control, but an area collection game. And as you can see, everything's marked on the board here, which is really nice. So you can see how many cards that can be played. So if you play 3, if the third one here gets to take all of those cards. or the fourth one there gets to take all those cards, or the second card here, then you can do this. So it's been a little while since I played this, but so I can't really explain it that well. But it's basically that's what it is. It's you play a card or several cards, because you can play like 3 sea dragons if you want, and then if the next player doesn't have any sea drag or anything to scoop that up, you can play the card which will scoop that up. So it's a kind of bluffing game, but at the same time kind of not area control. I can't think of what it would be called. What does Board Game Geek call it? Let's find out what Board Game Geek calls it. Board Game Geek calls it a hand management bluffing card game, fantasy fighting nautical, which doesn't really explain it that well. But anywho, that's what I've been playing.
This feels unenthusiastic. I'm going to say you're going to say not so bad.
I like it. I think it's good.
He likes it. Mikey will eat anything.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've played it only a couple of times, and I'm thinking there's a strategy here. There's something that makes me want to come back to it and try and develop my technique. I've only played against my daughter. My daughter's 13 now, and so she kind of like plays haphazardly. She doesn't really have a strategy of like, you know, if I just like get this pile just about close to being the right size, and then on my next turn I play this last card which lets me take it all, and you know, it's that kind of bluffing deduction from your hand management. Oh yeah, it kind of ties in with that, doesn't it, really? But yeah, it's nice. It comes with some variants as well. There's some special powers, so there is a bit of replayability in there. There's 2 variants, which is good, and the art is nice. The rules are simple. Everything is laid out on the board, so if you put something here, it means you can do this, or if you put X amount here, you can do that. And then at the end of the game ends quite quickly. It plays about 10 to 15 minutes. But it's a nice back and forth 2-player game. It's something I'd like to take camping and try. So, yeah.
Awesome. We have some fun stuff happening in the chat there. It's making me chuckle.
Okay, sorry. When I'm concentrating on talking, I'm missing all of this chat. I apologise. Right, I want to. Can I finish off with one more game for you guys to look out for? After Cannes, I got to hang out with a famous designer. I went to his house for a couple of days, called Christophe Bollinger. Designer of Dungeon Twister and Archipelago and things like that. And I got to play one of his games. Well, I got to play 3 of his games, which are still not published. But there's one that's apparently coming, hopefully soon, which I really, really fell in love with. I did really, really bad at it, because that's what I do. I just follow the rules and not think about strategy, and think about the theme more than the strategy. But in this game, the players will be building up a kind of archipelago, and this game has deck building, and it has area control, and it is so superfluous. It's so simple that within the first couple of rounds you will know everything about the game. It's called Rise and Fall, and it is coming pretty soon. Hopefully it's coming soon, because it looks spectacular. This was just the prototype that I played, but it has, as I said, the area control, which is where you win the game, basically. If you have control, if you have the most meeples of your color in a grass zone or a mountain zone or a beach zone or in the sea zone, you will get the most points. But it's the deck building itself which is the great thing. These big tarot cards, you have a tarot card for each different type of meeple. You'll have a explorer, you'll have a settler, you'll have a village, you'll have a merchant, you'll have a boat, and you will have the temple. These 6 cards in your deck, but you'll only play with the ones that you have on the board. So if you've got no temples on the board, you won't have this card. And as I said, each card would dictate all the actions that that can do. So if you play a settler card and you have 3 settlers on the board, you can move all 3 settlers and do one action with them. So the settler card will say you can move him 1 space, or you can spend a wood to turn that settler, if they're next to the sea, into a boat, or you can use a brick and a wood to turn it into a village. And so there's all these different things that each meeple can do, and I was blown away by this game. It's going to be. I've already just said this recently about another game, but it's going to be the new Settlers of Catan, I think, for this era.
Yeah, it sounds like it, except you got deck building in it.
Yeah, it is deck building. But as I said, it's area control, so it's kind of like the War of the Worlds one. You're playing a card and then moving stuff on a board, and it looks beautiful. As I said, this is just the prototype.
They're kind of like trains.
No, it's kind of. It's kind of Settlers of Catan. There's no trains. There's, as I said, there's settlers, there's explorers, temples, and
I mean the deck builder game Trains.
I haven't played. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. But
it was the second one. They came out with the first one. I'm forgetting the name of it now. It was a little while ago.
Automobiles.
But then they brought out Trains, and it actually had the board. Where you would you do your deck building.
Yeah, that was the Trains, Planes, and Automobile trilogy, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was the second one, I think. Yeah. But yeah.
But first impressions of that. Boom. That's mind blowing. So
and that's coming out to Kickstarter, is the thought?
No, it should be a published game. But it does depend on what Ludically does. It might be a company that dissolves due to this crisis, which means that Christoph will then try and self-publish it somewhere. So, but played it. Apparently Scott Alden says he loves it as well. So,
wow,
definitely one to look out for.
What was the name of the title again?
It's Rise and Fall.
Rise and Fall. Excellent. Well, I think we're going to move on to our next topic, the Babble topic. But before that, we have our amazing sponsor.
This video was made possible with the help of Game Toppers. Upgrade your gaming experience with a Game Topper.
You can still get in and late pledge and take advantage of all kinds of special Kickstarter packages that are still available. We're about halfway through our fulfillment. We're on a slight delay due to my manufacturer not being able to produce quite as much content product right now due to staffing issues. But we do anticipate to be moving forward pretty quickly. So anyway, if you do want to get in on some of the gamer goodness, it's Game Toppers. Take a look at it. Or a lot of our thematic game mats, we're shipping those out within 2 to 3 days. And we have over 16 styles and almost 9 different sizes. Not every size has all 16 styles, but nonetheless, there's a lot of mats to choose from. So check it out at GameToppersLLC.com.
And now it's time for the Babble, Berkey and Badger's board game Babble.
Babbling.
We are babbling.
So tell us what we're going to babble about.
Okay. Scroll. Okay. With the COVID-19 kicking up a storm, many countries are locked down their general populace for safety reasons. Bien sûr. But what do you do with your time when you can't go out or have a gaming group come over? Aha! What do you do? What have you been doing? Those of you in the live chat, tell us, please, what have you been doing? You've been starting podcasts like ours, haven't you? What have you been doing, Berkey?
Well, it's been kind of crazy, you know. It's like we still have been so busy with fulfillment, you know, where we geographically
you're still working.
Distance.
Just say you're still working.
I'm still working, but for us, we live in rural Minnesota. I have a 5,000 square foot facility that basically two of us are in, and we're apart from one another, really not having interaction with a lot of people and or anything else externally. The UPS driver comes and picks up our order that's outside, and if we have to sign for something, we use our pen. So we're practicing safe distancing measures and everything we can do to be safe and use common sense. But we live in a rural area that it's like going to the park almost, going to the shop. So at this point, my backers, this is crazy, but we've had a lot of them. They feel like we absolutely are essential services. We're right in the middle of our backing of getting our toppers out to everybody, and we're doing so fabulous. Things are just flying through, and we've had a few speed bumps with a couple things that we've had to work through, but overall, man, we're getting product to people, and then all of a sudden this all hit, and now it's starting to have some rippling effects, and it's because my supply chain is having the problems more than I'm having the problems.
Yeah.
So that's causing us to regroup. And when you're doing fulfillment with a software like BackerKit, and you have the complication of so many products like we do, and partially fulfilling some products because some products are still coming, it gets incredibly complicated. And it's almost like we have to finish this segment before we can move to the next one. Otherwise, we will totally lose control of the software that allows us to do it correctly. And it just becomes very complicated. And so we've been working through a lot of things, trying to get the right information from all my suppliers so that I can properly update people. And that's been my primary focus this whole last week. I work from my home. I have two offices above our garage that are 22 foot by 15 foot offices.
You're not claustrophobic then?
No, this is pretty much normal. I go over to the shop time to time, but Josiah mostly runs all that stuff, and we have a temporary worker, Joseph, and my wife helps out over there as well. So, we're being smart about it. We're not running around town. We're not gathering in groups or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But for me, life is still pretty busy and pretty hectic with just work-related things. Next week, things might change. We might have to shut down for a little while.
Yeah.
We're still waiting on that information. We don't feel like we're being civilly disobedient, to the governor's orders, because we're out in a rural area where we are not doing anything that would harm anyone else or coming in contact with anything that would. So we're being smart about it, but that's kind of where we're at. Yeah,
and I myself am a bit like Don, who's getting the garden ready. I've just put a greenhouse up, like a tent greenhouse, and then it blew over the other day with the wind. And but again, living in a rural area, I don't feel the effects. There's not so many cars driving past our house. There's the kids constantly craving your attention when you're trying to work, which is a nightmare. But I put them to good use. I started sorting out my board game collection and putting them into order. Which this is a great time to do that. I gave it all a dust.
Let's really explore that. Let's talk about that. What does that look like? How you put together your gaming collection and how you store your stuff?
Yeah, well, basically, my game collection was kind of stacked by publisher. So all my yellow games were together. All my Sorry We're French games are together. All my, Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast? I've got any Wizards of the Coast. Yes, I have. I've got, Anyway, they were stacked together like that. But as I was dusting and moving bits and pieces around, I was like, oh, now this space is the perfect size for that game. And so basically my collection has kind of moved around. I've tried to keep it together still, so like party games are together, the deep kind of mini games are together, but it's space related. What fits in where and looks nice. Yeah. That's the thing. And unfortunately, I've recuperated a few games as well, because my daughter was again, the family are here, so they're all having a spring clean, and some of these games have come from her room back into my room. Which is not too bad.
Boy.
They're games that I like as well, so I'm not too fast. And I mean, you know, I don't have like a pile of a shelf of shame. My shelf of shame is mixed in with my games. So anything in shrink wrap is a game that I haven't played.
Okay, so that's kind of interesting because sometimes I know, like Jesse, if he gets a game, he has to open it up right away and punch it and organize it, and that doesn't mean that he necessarily will get to play it. I guess he'll even read the instructions right away. And
yeah, I do that as well. I mean, Joan of Arc is there, and my wife said, "Oh, let's play Joan of Arc because I'm really interested to know what that is." And I'm like, I haven't played it yet, so I couldn't tell you the rules unless we sat down and read the book at the same time. It's like, no, we're not playing that then.
I never do that. I never open up a game and read the rules.
I gotta read the rules. It's, you know, sometimes it's a good thing to do to help me sleep. You know, it's a good way to switch off, get a rule book out, and try and envision the game. And I mean, bedtime is the best time to let your imagination run away with you. But the thing is, in the morning, you half remember the rules, and you made some of the rules up in your head as well because you're in this kind of like dreamlike state, and so you play the game wrong. Majorly wrong.
Yeah, Jesse's chiming in on the chat there. Sure enough, he says, "I love it. It's zen for me."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like for me, I don't get excited about reading the rule book. I get excited about playing the game and learning the game.
Yeah.
And so I like to look at the game, but I typically will watch a video, and then if I need to teach the game or learn it, then I'll read the rules after I've looked at the video and kind of got the gist of it. But generally, you know, I'll have people that are playing with me for what we do play that can teach the game well, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my organization. What's yours?
You know, this is such a great concept because, you know, I have about 500 games in my collection. I've counted over 40 of them on my shelf of shame.
Yeah.
And it just so disgusts me when I walk by that shelf of shame going, I know those games are really, really good and I really want to play them. You know, I'm looking over there. I've got Newton just waiting to be opened.
Still.
I've got I've got rune stones. I really want to play that. I've got Coimbra up there. I played it one time before, but then I bought it and I really want to play it because I love that game. You know, I've got Reichholt is sitting over there. Well, you know, Uwe Rosenberg, one of my favorite designers. So I really want to try that one. These other games that I mentioned to you. But when I organize games, what I've been doing is I've tried different things. I've tried to organize them by publisher. Then I've tried to organize them by player count. So these are the best games for 2-player games. These are the best 3 players. These are the best 4 players. So when I have that player count, I can go to that section. But that didn't work because nothing fit right. Well, then I tried to organize it by, okay, here's by weight. Here's my family weight games. These are the ones we're always going to play as a family. These are the ones that are a little heavier. But then that ended up turning into, here's all my 2-player games.
Yeah.
Well, then I couldn't organize them by publisher. I've heard of people organizing them alphabetically. That would just be painful.
I would love to. And then you'd know if you'd lent a game out. That's what I used to do with my DVDs and my CDs. They were all alphabetical. So if I lent one to someone, all I had to do was look for the hole, and I'd go, okay, that's in the C section. So that's, Catwoman. Okay, who did I lend that to? Oh, yeah. And so I'd remember who I lent what to and what film or what DVD or what CD. So
yeah, for something like that, you know, even those, all my DVDs and Blu-rays, I have all my Marvel movies here, and then I have my Star Wars here, and then I have, you know, I group them by genre, and I think I kind of landed mostly that most of the games that I really, really love, I put them in a place where I see them and they're easily accessible. So my first shelf, that has all those type of games. And right behind me, these are all my favorite games.
Yeah.
Are right behind on this shelf. And then the shelf that's over there are games that I like, but that I probably are not going to get to very often.
I'll tell you the good thing about mixing up your collection. When the wife decides that she wants to play something, she says, "Oh, should we play a game? What do you want to play? Go and get a game." I say, no, you choose because you're the picky one. So having all the games mixed up, she will come back with not just the one game that she likes playing, but a few games because she's curious, because the box art and because it was next to that game that she likes. So it's like a kind of like an ad sale, so to speak. She goes into the room. It's like the other day she came back with not just Prestige, but she came back with Queens, and she came back with Genty, or whatever it's called.
Okay, Gentis.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's great. We got some other games to play. Although I haven't played Gentis, it's just been given to me. And I was like, okay, we don't know how to play that, but we played Queens. That was another game that I forgot we played. But yeah, mixing it up is great. It's like fishing. Go on, wife. Go and find a game that you like, and she'll come back with different boxes every time. It's really good. That's why she wanted to talk about Joan of Arc. That's why she wanted to play Joan of Arc. She hadn't seen it because it was up on a high shelf, and now it's like on a level shelf. She's like, "Ooh, Joan of Arc. I didn't know you had that." I don't know.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. What do you think about type of shelving units to sort and display?
Whatever you got. I just use whatever I got. I've been to IKEA so many times. I've got different units, different shapes and sizes. So I mean, use whatever you have, or get rid of it and buy IKEA stuff, which everyone else is doing, because it does hold it really well.
Yeah, I know people love those IKEA Kallax shelves, and you see so many of them. They're nice and uniform, and they're black, and it's kind of cool. But I know a lot of one little trick that I got. Since widescreen TVs became prevalent, there was all these entertainment systems that had the square openings for the smaller TVs.
Oh, right.
And then it would have shelving units for your hi-fi stereo system. Well, I picked up a couple of these solid oak cabinets for like $50 each, and they work fantastic.
Wow.
That's actually what I use for the majority. This corner shelf that I have in back here, it's all solid oak, and it was basically a TV unit, and this is what I use for all my favorite games in the corner behind our game table, and I like it a lot.
Wow. Yeah, that's another good thing. Again, the old cabinets as well hold the old games, because they're always like a weird shape. Like my Heroescape is
Axis and Allies and Shogun and Fortress America. I got all those big honking boxes up on top.
Okay, so other things that we can do while we're locked in is play online. I was watching the news the other day, BBC News, and they were doing an article about things to do, and they actually mentioned Board Game Arena, and they said many people have been jumping onto Board Game Arena. In fact, Board Game Arena has been struggling because the amount of traffic that they've been getting.
I just heard that, and they just were talking about this on Board Games Insider. That they're not allowing any new subscribers because of that.
Yeah, and basically they're putting priority to those that actually, they do like a pay for service or whatever.
Yep.
So they are getting priority over everybody else, which is, I don't know, is that a nice thing or a nasty thing?
I don't know. I subscribe, but I haven't used it in a long time, so I wonder if it's still active.
Yeah, I subscribed as well, but again, I haven't used it in a long time because it was.
And we used to play Stone Age on that together.
We did, yeah. When we first, that was years ago.
We should do that again.
Yeah, if
see if we have an account and see if
they will let us.
Do you think it'll work?
We can try. We can try.
We'll have to find out if we actually have if we still have accounts.
Yeah, and then of course there's the tabletop simulator, which I think is a paid-for service.
If you're playing on Steam, this tells you how little I know about it because I've not been on Steam. But can you play multiplayer on Steam?
I've got it, but I haven't used it. Yes, you can play multiplayer over Steam. Yes.
Okay.
What am I talking about?
There's another idea.
Yeah. So using Steam with the tabletop simulator is another way. Has anyone used that? Possibly. Or just play the board game on your table in front of yourself over Skype with your friends.
What about solo? If you know, I'm not a solo gamer, but what do you think about solo play games?
Well, you know, what better time than now? Because so many games come with a solo variant. I mean, I keep thinking, have I got time to break open Seventh Continent and go for an exploration? And it's always, no, I've got this to do. All the kids come in and they start doing stuff, and it's or it's, you know, we've got to clean out something or whatever. Oh, I've got to go in the garden. You know, all these other things which distract me. But in this day and age, we have so many solo playing games. Why not? I'm sure someone is profiting. I know that Christophe Bollinger is profiting off of his collection of comics. He's now starting to read he's got a very large library of comic books, and he's a big comic book fan, and he's spending his days this is a perfect time to do that. So yeah, you've saved up all this stuff, and now the rainy day is here. You're locked in, you can't go out. What do? You start reading your books.
I have that Finding Nemo game called Nemo's War. And Jamie Keggy from the Secret Cabal, he loves that game. Thinks it's the best solo game out there. And I'm like, you know, if things slow down where I don't have to keep working, or if I, you know, I'm not looking for time off, but so I really don't have time off, and my time off is kind of recovering.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering about that.
Yeah, I mean, I just recently received Rallyman, and that can be played solo, and I had to go with that. Excuse me. And yeah, it was fun, but you know, the game for me solo is always Seventh Continent. Because of the story, because of the exploration, because of the decisions that you make. That's a game that I can get easily lost in.
How about Viticulture?
Viticulture is okay. It works with the automaton, but it's not gratifying. I don't like playing against current scores or certain. You know, in that game you've got to surpass a score limit each turn to win, and then it's kind of like Agricola as well. It's like each time you play, you got to do a bit better. You got to do a bit better. You got to do a bit better. And that gets dull and boring very quickly, whereas, as I said, Seventh Continent is a story, and it's different every time. It's role playing solo basically, and it works really well for me. I just love it. So
I played Imperial Settlers. It's one of my favorite games. I really love it, from Portal Games.
Yeah.
And I played the solo variant, and as I was reading the directions and learning about all that, I just was not looking forward to it. It was like I don't want to play this by myself. I want to play with people, you know. And so I was struggling with it, but then I kind of fought through that, and I started playing, and then it was like, oh man, this is and I'm thinking, I just don't like doing this. And then about halfway through, all of a sudden it started getting really challenging, and for a moment I thought I was going to lose. And all of a sudden everything changed, and I really had a great experience playing it solo.
Okay.
So yeah, it's one of those things that maybe you just got to do it a little bit more first, and then you get into that a little bit more. But I think I'm more of a people person. I don't want to go play a game by myself. So
I like the challenge from having a human opponent that can, you move left, they get in your way. Instead of, you could go anywhere. That other character, you go left, and that character does whatever the deck says. Oh, stand still. It doesn't fit thematically with some games. It doesn't create a challenge in some games, and sometimes it does create a challenge when it's just random card draws which temper, like Seventh Continent itself. You're drawing random cards, and it's sometimes those random cards can be slaps in the face every turn, or they can be, oh, we'll give you a gold piece of chocolate. Oh, we're gonna give you a fresh fish here. So it swings and roundabouts. Solo gaming.
Huh.
It just depends on what you like.
I mean, I wonder how many people, solo gaming is a big deal. A lot of people like it, obviously, because a lot of game companies focus on designing, that variant. And
well, it's been a big thing for years now, hasn't it? Every Kickstarter is like, have you got a solo variant? Have you got a solo variant? And it's like, gets to a point where it gets annoying, especially with some games which need that interaction. It needs that human calculator behind the other pieces to make the game feel interesting, instead of a deck of cards or some other means for your opponent to attack you or get in your way.
This shifting gears a little, another thing that I know a lot of people I'm hearing them doing is they're playing more video games. Nintendo Switch has several board games, and so there's people that are doing that.
Yeah, I mean, again, in this day and age, we're lucky again that Asmodee are producing a lot of their board games as app versions, so you can play solo or with random players around the world or your friends, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I've not done much on my iOS apps that I've played remotely. I've played a while back a few games of Star Realms, which I really like that app. But one time, it was about a year ago, Dan King and I did a remote, like a Skype call. I think we used Google Hangout at the time, but we played Baseball Highlights 2045. And we just had to get our cameras set in a way that we could see each other's board. Yeah. And what it ended up being is that I would play with him, but he would have the same cards that we had over there, so he could put them in front of his camera, was the way it worked out. But
so that goes back to this Skype thing, this tabletop simulator, which is great. And me, it's Fallout 4 and Skyrim. I am hooked on those games for years, and so I play them when everyone else is asleep, because there's nothing else for me to do. Well, there's my work I could do, but at 4 a.m, you don't want to work at 4 o'clock in the morning. You want to play.
Well, that's a lot of things that as gamers that we can do, albeit we might not be able to get together physically. We're able to do a lot of different things still related to board games. And I really want to encourage people that this too will pass. We will get through this, and I know it's difficult. I know it's scary, and I know there's a lot of things that are impacting individuals, but the things that first off, our family and our loved ones is our first consideration. And then the things that we do to enjoy the times together. And now we're doing it a little bit differently, but we can still engage with technology. We can still engage with doing what we're doing here on the podcast. We can engage with applications where we can connect with one another, and FaceTiming. My daughters are sending me pictures of the grandbabies regularly that are really bringing a little bit of light and joy into the situation, and we continue to can encourage one another in these times. So I think that's a big thing too. If you're struggling being locked up,
I've never phoned my mum so much, like 3 or 4 times a week.
Really?
Before it was like twice a month.
Yeah.
I'm a bad boy.
Well, and I think we're finding out some things maybe we're too busy.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been doing a little bit of self-analysis myself because my job has just become so consuming, and a lot of things that I used to love to do, I just haven't had time. And trying to reevaluate how to fix that a little bit. And you know, I know I'm in a unique season with the company, but a lot of people struggle with keeping their priorities straight. You know, and the things that are really important, and family.
Yeah, family is important.
And I think too, one of the things, like we're having several comments in the chat, just people saying, hey, this is really good therapy. And you know, mental wellness is really important, just as important as physical wellness. You know, that you have a diet that helps you physically and you're getting the right amount of rest physically, but our mental health is likewise important. And to do some of the things that will help encourage you, engage with other people. There's all kinds of different groups now. You know, yesterday I went for a walk and I listened to a little bit of a podcast from Blue Peg Pink Peg, and then listened to Stephen and Ignacy, you know, and it kind of reminded me of those good times I had mowing my lawn, listening to podcasts that I haven't been able to do for a long time.
Yeah, again, it kind of affects my work. I can't be as productive as I normally am because the kids are always there, but it's just great to have the kids there, and it's just, you know, unlimited cuddles. Whenever you want a cuddle, there's someone for you to cuddle or someone to talk to. Or and for me, you know, as I said, I work here in this room all the time. So as I said, life outside hasn't affected me, but inside the house it has affected me. I feel like I've become a proper father and taken the role as a father properly. I've disciplined, or I've been there to listen to problems or questions or have a laugh with, and it feels great. I'm enjoying this. I'm profiting from this. Unfortunately, probably a lot of people won't be profiting from it, feeling that it's feeling it's bad when it's not bad, or actually it is bad. And I do feel sorry for you if you've lost your job, or you're gonna lose your house due to this, or you're not being able to afford to pay for food. Again, you know, it is bad for you guys, and I hope that it does turn around. But I don't know. I don't know if it's just the luck of the circumstances that I have, or it's just my mentality, which just kind of always looks on the bright side of life.
Yeah, I think you know, I generally do have a positive outlook, but I honestly feel that things are going to get better. We are going to have better days ahead, and that's not, you know, hyperbole. It's not I could be wrong. You know, we could be headed for longer periods of times, you know, that are difficult, but I really don't feel that way, honestly. I honestly believe good days are ahead, and we can rely on one another. And this song has been running in my head for several days. I've been thinking about it. I thought about even going down and recording it, just because it's been hitting me in a profound way. But
do it.
Lean on me.
Oh, why?
When you're not strong, I'll be your friend, and I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long till you're gonna need somebody to lean on. So just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. You know,
hopefully that sounded good.
we can rely on one another. And I gotta be honest, if anybody is struggling, or if anybody is having a difficult time and you need someone to talk to, man, reach out to me, email me, call me, and I'd be happy to talk to you. I'll take the time to spend some time with you if you need some encouragement.
We're all in the same dog.
I mean that with all my heart.
We're all in the same dog, dude. Just go and talk to anybody. Just talking about it will make you feel better. Even if you're talking negatively and you're feeling depressed, other people can relate. So
yeah, exactly. and likewise, I'm in the same gig. If there's times I have, I'm just like y'all. I need encouragement too. And there's times that I'm able to just call people and just say, yeah, I just needed someone to talk to.
There you go.
Needed to bounce some ideas off. You and I have done that so often before, Barry, where we just said, hey, you got time to chat?
Yeah.
And we just lift one another up.
Yeah, we do. You definitely lift me up. I'm not going to sing that song, though.
I was... it just went through my head.
Yeah. I can't believe it. It's like 4 years since I last heard that song. And it's, no. Ellie, so we will thank you again for joining us. Don't forget to check us out on our Guild Board Game Geek 2248. That's the one. You can find us also at boardgametheatre.com and boardgameseverybodyshould.com, and obviously this YouTube channel and our Facebook page and our Twitter page, Berkey and Badger, Board Game Babble.
And the Board Game Geek Guild, number 2248.
Yeah, and the Facebook page and the Twitter page.
Are you going to put up a poll about how people organize their games?
I will do that. That'd be a very good poll. Thank you very much for suggesting that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And we'd like to thank our sponsor, Arcane Wonders. You can still go in and late pledge for the Foundations of Rome Kickstarter. Go to arcanewonders.com or go to our Kickstarter at Arcane Wonders Foundations of Rome, and you can take advantage of that, still get in on it for a few months. And our good friend Rob McBride from Scyther Gaming has this fantastic epic space battle called Over Battle, the All War. I'd encourage you to go take a look at it. Some fantastic videos from Mark Street from the Dice Tower previews. Quackalope did a fantastic video as well, and Jimmy Hudson from the Board Game Closet. Great video. I loved all the videos, really showing the depth and the environment and just everything about this game. I'd encourage you to go take a look at it, even if you can't pledge now. Things might look a lot differently in a month and a half from now, and you'll still be able to get in on it, which is really commendable of Rob to do it that way, because it's agonizing to do a 60-day campaign, trust me. But he's doing that to give people maximum ability to check in, and so I'd encourage you to take a look at that if you haven't taken a look at it. And again, if you'd like to late pledge for Game Toppers, you can still do that as well. And we're going to be hopefully fulfilling all of our stuff here within just the next 4 to 6 weeks. So we're excited about that. We're a little delayed right now, but we're not anticipating that to last real long. We'll see. But right now we're hearing reasonably good encouragement. So.
And if you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain.
Pina coladas. Got sunshine in the rain. No, that ain't the way it goes. Na, 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 na,
if you're
na,
not
na.
into health food and you have half a brain. Who's that remind me of? Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you later.
All right, everyone. So fun. Thanks, Barry.
Thank you again for listening to Berkey and Badger's Board Game Babble. This show was written, produced, and performed by Kevin Burkhardt-Smyer and Barry Doublet, as was the music too, with a little help from the Balance of Power. Although the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly theme was composed by Ennio Morricone, and background effects were supplied by Sirenscape. Enhance your gaming at sirenscape.com. Join us next time where we might have a special guest or we may review a game. But either way, there'll be more craziness and more babbling.